Welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark, and today we got an exciting episode on Power Armor, Astartes Power Armor. Joining us, we got Christian and Jordan. Yo, Christian.
Hey. Excited to get suited up with everybody.
Off the top of your head, do you have a favorite mark of Power Armor?
Man, classic Aquila. I miss it. Maximus used, or not, is it Maximus? Mark IV? Yeah. It used to be my favorite, but then with the Primaris looking like that, it was like, oh, okay, now everyone looks like that.
Might as well throw them both in the trash together, side by side. Yeah, I get you. The Aquila, at least sometimes Primaris Marines wear it, so that's always nice. But okay, Jordan, what about you? You got a favorite Power Armor?
Not really. You gotta go with the classic, the Thunder Power Armor, the old school.
The very first, the one that started all the brutality. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Jordan doesn't need to be fully enclosed to kick your ass, just greaves and upper torso. That's all he needs. We got a fun episode before we get into talking about all the different types, the different history and all that kind of stuff. We'll do some quick housekeeping. Come join the Discord. It's always fun chatting to people on there, showing off different projects of what everyone's working on. There's 3D printing forums there and some buy, sell, trade options. If you're into that kind of thing, go check it out. There's links in the podcast below and on spaces that you message us. But come join the Discord.
And you can always help support the show through Patreon and join the Imperial Tithe. You can get an ad-free version of the show for only $2.50 or the video version for $5.
And if you are a member of the Patreon, you can also join the live stream. We live stream all of these episodes, and we have a live chat going during the show, so you can participate in the show as well. We also do call-in guests at the end of the episode. So again, if you're a member of the Patreon, you can join us at the very end and be a part of the show.
Yeah, cool. I feel like sometimes these episodes run long and then we get to the end and everyone's like, okay, I'll message you tomorrow my thoughts. I'm like, okay, well, that's the way she goes. So this episode, as I said, Astartes Power Armor. We will be some context notes here. We will only be talking about firstborn Power Armor in this episode. I was going through and I finally got to Mark X, Primaris Army. I'm like, gosh, okay, fuck. Like now this is a whole nother episode here. So let's separate it. Let's maybe do that. Like, they're essentially doing different war gear at this point. But that's not the rant right now. But that's something to keep note of. Only firstborn stuff. So in this episode, we're going to go over the design, the history and development, all the different marks from 1 through 8, additional designs, including like artificer or relic armor, specific kind of warband stuff. We're going to mention it. It's cool how, especially during the Horus Heresy and Great Crusade, all the legions have kind of their own style of armor on top of the different marks. So they might have like a different helmet, or maybe they all wear kind of spiked armor or something like that. They have their own flair. So we'll talk about some of those.
Some kind of variation of it, yeah.
Yeah. I've always liked the Sons of Horus helmet from Horus Heresy. Yeah, great helmet. And then we'll talk about a couple other Imperial power armors just worth mentioning that like Inquisitors and humans can wear, but it's kind of different than standard Astartes plate. And Chaos, what happens when they get a hold of it? Because there are Chaos Space Marines, so they definitely wear it, and it's a little different, but also very much the same. So, and then adaptability, personalization, and the practice of not wearing a helmet. We'll get into all that on this episode of Lorehammer. It's going to be fun.
And Mark, if I'm not mistaken, this might be a good episode for visuals. So get your fingers ready to be on that keyboard to throw up on a screen, maybe a suit of armor or helmet here and there if we get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, on that note, I did just pull some stuff up. There is like classic artwork of all the armor side by side and kind of like a breakdown or like a blueprint kind of style. The evolution of power armor over the years, especially with artwork and especially in minis, man, has been wild to see, let alone in the lore. But cool. Well, let's dive into it. Something just happened to our notes.
Yeah,
Christian,
someone messed up the notes again.
Okay, it's not just me.
I'll correct that. Don't worry.
I was gonna try and start reading, but I don't have any notes. They're gone.
He inserted 60 pages in the notes of nothing except his.
Page 72 is where we begin. You need a reference.
I'm on my phone, so I'm gonna have to scroll all the way down 72 pages. Might take me a second.
Okay. Well.
What is going on?
I've been working on minis while we're waiting. I've been working on a Tau battlesuit, painting active camo and shit. It's always fun. Man, this is gonna take forever. I'm scrolling. I'm gonna read the first one, and Christian, you can catch up when you catch up. Let's get into Astartes power armor. Power armor is the pinnacle of combat protection, engineered primarily for the superhuman race or for the superhuman space marines and their corrupted kin among the traitor legions. With rare variants adapted for mortal use, encased in adamantium and plysteel, and wrapped in layers of ceramite shielding, it forms a sealed, unbreakable bulwark against the galaxy's horrors. Every suit is a self-contained war machine, equipped with life-sustaining systems that allow its bearer to wage war in the void of space or the depths of toxic war zones. Integrated Medicaid arrays administer chemical painkillers and a battlefield treatment, while the suit's auto-senses feed tactical streams of data into the warrior's brains, enhanced sight, sound, and threat protection beyond mortal limits. Yet such armor would crush under any unaugmented body without the electrofiber bundle muscles that mimic and empower every movement, amplifying a space marine's strength to terrifying levels, turning them into living siege engines. More than simple equipment, an Astartes armor is bonded to them, sanctified through decades of craftsmanship. Each plate and circuit carries a legacy, maintained with ritual precision by Armorium, serfs and tech marines, its machine spirits and treasured relics of the chapter's war-forged identity. Each suit bristles with auxiliary systems designed to enhance lethality, auto-senses linked to mind commands, auger relays, vox streams, auditory filters, targeters, and a myriad subroutine honed to kill with the mechanical perfection. Life-sustaining components include combat sims, toxin purgers, and pain inhibitors. The greaves contain stabilizers and mag-lock mechanisms, enabling devastating combat in the void or across shattered hulls at impossible angles. Whew! Already, Space Marine armor is super cool. You get power armor in many different sci-fis. And they do it in different ways. Like Halo, I believe, like their power armor, it's pretty high tech, but they rely more on shielding rather than like pure metal and mass. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I believe the Mark V power armor is when they incorporate energy shielding, and before that, it's like a regular suit of armor. But that's when they first encounter the Covenant. So they steal their shield tech and then adapt it.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. But yeah, every different franchise has kind of their own, like if you go back to like Starship Troopers, their power armor, like kind of that original, they were like the original drop troopers, shooting down from your spacecraft.
That's what literally I was going to say is Starship Troopers is actually like the founding myth of orbital drop troopers and powered armor. They had the Marauder suits in it.
Did he ever, was he an artist at all? Like, did he draw anything of what his power armor would look like?
No, I think the description of it looks, I think, more like a gorilla, almost like a gorilla type mech suit where it's like front heavy or top heavy. Yeah. If I'm remembering correctly. But there's been lots of artistic interpretations of his armor, and then they created an anime in the 80s for Starship Troopers that I think kind of set the tone of like mecha style power armor.
Okay.
And then there's been lots of iterations, right? Like you can have power armor that's like very subtle. There's a series called the Roughneck Starship Troopers Chronicles. It's like animated in the 90s. And their power armor is like, you know, very close to your body, human sized. You know, support system. It's like a suit, right? And then you have like Space Marine power armor, which is like wearing a battle tank on your body.
Have you guys heard that the U.S. Army has been for years trying to develop an exoskeleton for their soldiers, which would be like the beginning of a power armor?
Yeah.
There's no way they don't have that figured out, man. There's people on YouTube that have like cool exoskeletons and all that kind of fun stuff.
The biggest problem, it's been a while since I've looked into the real life power armor, but the biggest problem is like keeping it powered.
Yeah.
It needs energy, and like oftentimes that turns into battery packs, and battery technology has its upper limits. So that's like the biggest hurdle. They have really cool suits, but they're always like wired or connected to something to keep them going.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually it's probably going to happen.
Yeah. It'll be fun. All right, let's talk about the design. The monumental suits of armor worn by Space Marines are forged from layers of unyielding ceramite, which would cripple a normal being were it not for the electromuscle fiber systems that mirror the warrior's movement and amplify his already devastating strength. The final gene seed implant, known as the black carapace, is embedded beneath the skin and woven with neuroreceptors and bioconnective ports. These sacred interfaces are designed to lock into the armor's spinal and circulatory ports, allowing the Astartes to commune with his warplate through thought alone, merging flesh and metal as one seamless, lethal entity. Without this biomechanical communion, the power armor is inert, its function married inseparably to the black carapace, the defining hallmark of a true Adeptus Astartes. Across millennia of war, numerous patterns of armor, each known as a mark, have evolved. Many are venerated relics claimed by elite units, bearing the likeness of their era and honored by certain chapters as sacred iconography. The care of such suits rests in the hands of tech marines and master artificers, mortals sworn to a life of service and devotion, whose craftsmanship is revered by the chapter, and whose greatest works are treated as relics of war. Fragments of ancient suits are tirelessly hunted, for they carry the legacy of extinct heroes and the scars of legendary battles. Such pieces are restored with unbroken care, engraved and resanctified as threads in the tapestry of the chapter's history. Power armor seals entirely, shielding the Space Marine from annihilating atmospheres, chemical warfare, contagion, or the ravages of the void. Internal systems include communication relays, autosenses, and countless other augmentations. The suit's inner system constantly track vital signs, dispensing medical data to its wearer, and, if needed, to the apothecaries who oversee his survival and resurrection. The power unit mounted upon the back houses the armor's heart, a hyperdense microfusion reactor, supported by solar converters and banks of energy cells for sustained performance across unending campaigns. Additional life support systems, environmental controls, and thruster arrays are all built into the sacred power pack, allowing the Space Marine to maneuver with deadly grace, even in zero gravity and the void. I also wanted to point out other properties which kind of riff on the 40k power armor, which is Fallout.
Yeah.
And similar kind of power source as well that inserts into the back. They're obviously riffing on it.
Yeah, their power cores, yeah. I love how each suit is like this like relic. It has its own identity. If you've played the Fantasy Flight games, the Death Watch, you would roll when you're rolling your character. You roll for what type of armor you'd have. You'd also roll for a machine spirit for your armor. And, you know, it might be Wounded Pride, and it got its previous owner got wounded or whatever, and now you have a limp and the power armor kind of struggles or whatever. It would have a bunch of cool different machine spirit personalities for your power armor. Because yeah, these things are like ancient and they rebuild them and they add to them and they, you know, build onto them really as they get more honors. They add an Aquila here or they crux over here or whatever.
Yeah, it's a very like romantic interpretation of armor. Like, oh, you inherited like your grandfather's suit of, you know, if you're a knight in real life, like your grandfather's suit of armor. I don't think this really happened. I think it's like a romanticist version of it, but same thing, like you inherit like a family sword or something. Like if you were using your sword in combat, there's a good chance that thing got beat to hell, and if not broken.
Yeah, and like anything that killed the Astartes on the inside of it probably fucked the suit up. But
yeah, but I mean, it's also 40K, so they can recover and repair that stuff. But it has that same like romanticism around like passing down this like generations old suit of armor that has its own history and like legacy. And it's cool because it gives the new warrior something to work up to or live up to.
Maybe you guys would know better, but like, couldn't you hypothetically, even as like an homage to your predecessor, you have like one shoulder plate or something sort of welded onto your armor? I don't know if anyone's actually done that in the lore, but
yeah, none come to mind, but that would be kind of like a fun chapter that passes armor down as part of their like with the gene seed follows the armor or something like that, you know?
Yeah, that could be cool.
I love the one armoring of Astartes video that GW made where they're just putting on his war plate and you see all these different like interlocking armor plates, but you also see the black carapace, which is like that layer over their skin. You also see all those like little locking mechanisms, the whole matrix like clipping thing all over them. So great video.
That's a great video. I've watched it.
Yeah.
It's
all the serfs just like chanting, like it's peak 40K. Like in order to put this suit of armor on, you need 10 guys, 18 of which are just like
I was gonna say the whole it gives you a sense of like how much of a process it is just to like put on your power armor, you know.
They say even like to put on your helmet, there's like a certain ritual that you should perform and you should have like a somebody do it for you. And if you put it on just like, you know, you're chilling and then you take fire and you put your helmet on, it might anger the machine spirit a little bit. Like it just aggravates them. It's not like it's going to turn off on you, but it annoys the machine inside of it.
Yeah, you have to show it the proper respect and due care.
Yeah.
I just quickly also want to mention while we're talking about power sources, a Space Marine that loses their power pack isn't completely immobilized. They're still strong enough to operate their suit because they have superhuman strength. If it was a regular human in powered armor, you're like, that thing is just dead weight on you and you can't even move. But just because Space Marine physiology is so superior, they're certainly like compromised and slowed down quite significantly, but they're not totally just like immobilized.
Yeah. I just talked about that in the last episode, the Dark Angel book, where they had the one guy whose power pack got destroyed and he's slugging through the sewer system or whatever, and just you can do it, but he was tired. But,
because he's exerting his muscles to move this like heavy suit. But like I said, like a human, like your strength, you're not strong enough to lift like a 10-ton suit of armor.
Yeah.
Right? So
I barely even wear a shirt because that's too much for me.
Too heavy.
You know? Too much.
Are there any instances where someone's suit runs out of power and then they're like just pure strength trying to move it?
I feel like runs out doesn't happen. Like just like the Space Marine, it's over redundant. All the different features it has. Like not only does it have this like micro fusion dense reactor, it also has all those solar panels that's charging it. It also has battery packs. Like it just it's like the Space Marine. It's probably going to kill or wreck the suit before you actually like just cripple it. You have to wreck the whole thing. Otherwise it's going to keep going.
Yeah. It's more a question of, is it your power pack destroyed rather than ever running out of power?
Yeah. So the suit has a couple different key components I'll quickly go over. The helmet, the sealed cranial fortress shielding the Astartes head. Maybe I'll just read the ones that aren't obvious.
Cranial fortress is very cool. That's what I'm going to call any of my headwear.
Auto senses, photo lenses, respirator Vox grill, gorget, but only on some. They learn to protect their neck later on. Pauldrons, as we know, the massive auto reactor shoulder plate engineered to deflect hostile enemy fire and carry the chapter's insignia, squad designators, and sacred symbols of honor and triumph. Like the shoulder pads, the pauldrons, they're iconic, man. They're the thing. The bigger the shoulder pad, the more manly the man.
Yes.
Could just be overcompensating, though.
No, Jordan. You wouldn't say that to an Astartes face, so don't say it to mine. They also have gauntlets, cuirasses, plastron, the solid chest plate. Oh, okay. I didn't know it had the name. The solid chest plate guarding the vital biolinks, power conduits, and Astartes' enhanced organs. A Carter vambrace, Polyon. That's like for the knee. Am I saying any of these right? Greaves, I know that one. Sabaton, those are boots. Backpack power unit, a power core, reserve cells, solar catch arrays, and housed within this towering module, feeding life into the plate. Life science monitor. If that suit's moving, that Astartes still alive. Otherwise, it's once again, it's either it's working or it's wrecked completely, and there's nothing left. So the life science monitor, just look if it's moving. The temperature regulator. They can function everywhere, essentially. Nutrient reservoir. Gotta eat when you're slaying orcs, you get hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, this is relative because you're talking Astartes physiology, right? So like, you don't need, your 3 square meals a day type packed into that. Like I read somewhere that Astartes eat very calorie dense food. I don't know if that was canon or fan speculation. It would make sense just based on their size and everything, but also their bodies operate at such peak efficiency that they don't need to eat to function, right? Like if in real life, you're constantly burning calories just by existing, and if you were that massive and your body was that enhanced, yeah, you'd starve to death very quickly if you weren't constantly scarfing down food. But again, you're talking peak performance body. Their poops are just little deer pellets. They're just tiny little rabbit pellets.
Yeah, they're super dense and really black because like every nutrient from like 1,000 meals has been condensed into this little rabbit turd.
Yeah, and then his suit recycles that rabbit turd, and then he can eat it again. It's just
only
optimum efficiency. Yeah. Let's get a little bit in there. History and development of the power armor. Power armor predates the Imperium itself. First used by the warlords and techno-barbarians who waged steel-clad carnage across Terra during the Age of Strife. It was later donned by the proto-transhuman warriors of the Emperor's personal cohort, as he shattered Terra's fractured kingdoms and unified the cradle of mankind in the 30th millennium. I like how you capitalize he when you refer to the Emperor.
That's like Christian indoctrination, Capital G for God, capital E for Emperor.
In its most primitive state, the armor was neither sealed nor self-sustaining. As such, environmental protection was unnecessary for operations bound entirely to Terra. Yet through the Imperium's long march across the stars, countless iterations of the armor have arisen. Warfare, necessity, and the rediscovery of the lost human ingenuity, known as archaeotech, have driven the warplate's extraordinary evolution. So yeah, like the first armor, the Thunderwear armor wasn't totally enclosed. So you could theoretically hit them with poisons or have like austere environments that might cripple them without some kind of body or armor modification, like rebreathers or something added to it. But by the time you get to Mark II, they're fully enclosed spacesuits. They can fight in the void. They can fight underwater. They can fight in poison atmosphere.
Yeah.
Wherever you can think of. The image etched into legend is that of superhuman warriors clad in towering shells of ceramite, bearing the double-headed Imperial Aquila as a symbol of dominion. The iconic form of the, quote, Aquila pattern is most often seen among firstborn Space Marines, but is only one of 8 sacred marks deployed across the eons of war. All recent marks remain in service to some degree across loyal Space Marine chapters. True relics of the older variants, however, are all but extinct, hailed as hallowed artifacts linking their bearers to the chapter's ancient triumphs. These elder suits are often reserved for honor guard duty or bestowed upon commanders as symbols of supreme authority. The lineage of armor can be seen as a gradual enhancement of function and form with every era. Yet these advancements are not owed to new innovation, but to the steady reclamation of knowledge from humanity's lost age of technology, resurrected piece by piece during the Emperor's Great Crusade to reclaim the stars. But since the ashes of the Horus Heresy, as the Imperium slid into cultural and technological stagnation, progress in power armor design has slowed to a crawl, leaving the master of mankind's chosen to wage endless war with only fragments of the Golden Age left to them. And then we will proceed to get into each mark here individually in a sec.
Yeah. As I kind of mentioned, they do start picking up production again with Primaris and Gravis armor. You know, they kind of learn some new tricks, but for a long time, like pretty much 10,000 years, I was using the same tech. It's fun that the Imperium will often, it's like they will convert things, like convert tools to war, essentially. With Terminator armor, you get old mining equipment, not old mining equipment, but super durable mining equipment, mining armor kind of turned into machines of war. At first, you get the power armor, it's just made for Earth, but then as it expands out, it goes on, and yeah, you kind of get some more different types.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of realistic too. I think the first tanks were built off of tractor chassis.
Okay, fuck yeah.
Yeah, just armor up a tractor, see what happens.
Hey, Granddad, you want to mount this cannon to your tractor? Go hunt some cows? Fuck.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. Back in the day, maybe industry led to military advancements, but it seems like today it's the other way around. Like military advancements
makes everything first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard of the internet?
Yeah. Many such cases. All right, let's Mark I, not Mark of Lorehammer fame. Mark I power armor, the Thunder power armor. Let's get into that. It was the earliest warplate devised for the Proto-Astartes. It was known as Mark I Thunder Armour. Though this designation came later in its own age, it was simply called power armor. It was neither sealed nor void protective by modern standards, and falls short of what would later be defined as true power armor. Yet it laid the immovable foundation upon which all subsequent designs would be built. This armor boasted a reinforced powered thorax casing. Excuse me. That amplified the bearer's upper body might, allowing him to crush and dismantle enemies with unstoppable force. The suit drew power from a backpack generator, an innovation now so essential that every single pattern of power armor has since adopted. Its title was taken from the raptor's Imperialis, an emblem of thunder and lightning displayed proudly across the plastron. The design evolved from the crude yet deadly powered plate worn by Terra's techno-barbarian warlords in the twilight of the Age of Strife. It served as the armor of the Emperor's Thunder Warriors during the Unification Wars, as Terra was cleaved into obedience and reforged under the master of mankind's iron will. Oh, that's interesting, actually. I never knew this origin story. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Not the first power armor ever invented. Like even at the time of this, during the Age of Strife or during the Unification War, like there were tons of techno-barbarians with power armor types, but this was like either the most efficient or the most durable, maybe even the most like replaceable and replicable as well. But yeah.
Could be mass produced, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd also just be, imperial history starting from when we started kind of attitude, kind of like China. Like there's no history before this point. So this was when power armor started, when we said it started. Because like presumably during the dark age of technology, they probably had like super crazy power armor that like still hasn't come back around yet.
Yeah. The armor was not exclusive to the first true Space Marines. Many of the Emperor's earliest engineered warriors had worn versions of it before the Astartes existed. Crafted for planetary combat, the suit lacked airtight sealing and environmental systems, rendering it useless beyond atmosphere and gravity. Only the chest and arms received power support, reflecting the brutal realities of the era. Firearms were scarce due to technological collapse, and so melee force and strength were the ultimate weapons. The armor's name stems from the Raptor Imperialis, the storm-winged lightning bolt the Emperor favored during the Unification Wars, before he adopted the double-headed Aquila as his symbol in the Great Crusade. This meant the suit came to be known as Thunder Armour. It was built on local ad hoc basis, with no two suits exactly alike, each forged with improvisation and unique warlike intent. The focal point of the design was the massive upper shell, armored and powered to deliver catastrophic force in close combat. Energy conduits under the torso plating fed power from the backpacks to the arms, granting terrifying physical prowess. Combat on Terra in that age was savaged and intimate, so strength in the torso and limbs was essential. The legs, however, remained unpowered, shielded only by padded material or crude metal plates, depending on the resources at hand. Some of the most elite carried armored greaves and plated boots, but even these enhancements could not change the nature of the suit. Its unpowered lower frame and primitive engineering caused it to emit the loud mechanical clatter of ancient machinery, making stealth a luxury it could not afford. That's interesting. So I guess was the original Thunder Armour, man, in my mind, I thought it was a lot more uniform than it's described here, but was it like a lot smaller and lighter?
I got some pictures pulled up here. Like you got this art here and this one here, kind of the John Blanche style, that gold with the red.
Yeah, like that's kind of how I remember it being, but yeah.
Yeah, but even them, if you look, like one's wearing like armored gauntlets and like an elbow guard, the other guy's just wearing big red gloves. Like even within those original artwork, the helmets are different. They're very unique. I think all the details of all the little different pieces or whatever get lost because it's all gold.
Yeah.
They the other thing too is I've always found like the art style kind of inconsistent with the description. They always emphasize a lack of armored legs, but like any official model, like Mark, the picture right under the one you're looking at there, that's like an official Rogue Trader era model, right? And like really, if you just saw these pictures, you wouldn't know that the legs were unpowered. They look almost like a suit of armor, of regular power armor, just with a different kind of helmet variation. Even the gloves you can see mimicked in some of the Chaos Space Marines still wear kind of like that gloved gauntlet.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't know unless it was actually described to you, like, yeah, the lower half is actually not powered. But yeah, like Mark, you were saying too, even if you look at the Blanche artwork, if you scroll back to the top, there's one guy who's wearing a helmet that looks almost like an Aquila pattern helmet. No, the other one. Yeah, that one underneath there. That helmet style is very reminiscent of the Aquila, right? Like in theory, like that could just be a rebreather that the guy attached to his helmet, right?
Yeah,
as like a custom trait. I've seen versions of Thunder Warriors too with like chainmail underneath their leg parts, which is really cool. I'm not sure if that was official or not, but yeah, there's all these kind of subtle variations that don't necessarily translate between description and physical representation. But there's also not been a lot GW's done in terms of like official, this is a Thunder Warrior, this is their art, it's all like kind of pieced together.
Yeah, like it's all from like Rogue Trader, like the 80s type lore era, we've never seen a mini from the last 10 years for them, 15, 20.
Yeah, 30, dang.
30, yeah.
Getting old.
Exactly.
Yeah. But from the pieces we do have, the other thing too, Jordan, that you mentioned on size is that Thunder Warrior is actually bigger than Space Marines. So just on sheer size, their power armor was probably about the same size, if not bigger than Astartes power armor. just because the guy underneath was a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Grim in the chat says, wouldn't the size, kind of riffing on what you just said, wouldn't the size have changed from MK1 due to the sheer size of a Space Marine compared to a Thunder Warrior?
Yeah.
So, just Thunder Warriors were big.
Big beefy boys. Yeah, I feel like the Space Marines, they're highly efficient. They might not need to eat, but the Thunder Warriors are eating after every battle. During the battle, sometimes they're eating the people. Like, they're eating to get that big.
They're just eating your face.
Yeah.
Drinking your blood.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into Mark II Crusade Power Armor, and this is where it really takes kind of the shape we know. Mark II Crusade Power Armor emerged in the twilight of the Age of Strife and became the warplate of choice during the Imperium's genesis. Worn by the Astartes who spearheaded the Emperor's Great Crusade to reclaim the scattered dominions of humanity. After Terra and the Sol system had been conquered in 798 M30, the vast forges of Mars were commanded to produce a new breed of power armor, a monumental leap beyond all previous designs for the Emperor's freshly forged legions. This masterpiece became known simply as Crusade Armor. I'll pull that up here if we just wait 1 second. Mark II Crusade Armor. Yeah, pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
This masterpiece became known simply as Crusade Armor, forged explicitly from the Imperium's first Great Galactic Campaign. It was the first fully sealed and void-capable suit of the Imperium armor, making it, by common definition, the earliest true power armor. It was engineered as a complete life-sustaining ecosystem, allowing Astartes to wage war in the airless dark or on alien worlds steeped in toxins or celestial fury. The suit was constructed from countless interlocking rings of ceramite, layered in microscopic circles that overlap like the scales of a steel leviathan. Each plate built for strength and flexibility, but maddening to repair. Larger armored segments crafted with these rings were linked with precision, enabling greater mobility across the battlefield while shielding vital machinery within. These adaptable plates sections ran across the torso and legs, granting unmatched freedom of movement for such dense armor. The backpack retained the Mark I silhouette, but held far more sophisticated systems, supporting air filtration, waste recycling, medical response units, and the armor's primary energy reactor. The helmet was anchored to the gorget and fixed in place externally, but the wearer could turn his head freely within the armor. The Mark II also introduced improved power cores to regulate temperature and prevent catastrophic overheating. That's funny about the armor, where you have to kind of turn your whole body in order to see stuff.
Like the old Batman.
Yeah. What are you doing over there? Face me. The helmet embedded enhanced sensory arrays and microcogitators that process battlefield stimuli and transmitted the information directly to the wearer's brain through neural links. The innovations amplified in Astartes' already superior sensors, filtering out debilitating sounds and light assaults. This suit of battlefield awareness and self-preservation tech became known as autosenses, a crucial component now standard in every later Mark power armor. In the 41st Millennium, surviving suits of Mark II are treasured relics of the chapter, lucky enough to possess them, displayed during sacred rituals or even donned by the chapter's mightiest champions in war. Although markedly quieter than the primitive Mark I, Crusade armor was never crafted for stealth. Its presence invokes the forgotten thunder of the Great Crusade, stirring the hearts of nearby Space Marines and filling them with indomitable purpose. Celebrated by many as the most efficient and awe-striking design ever forged, the Mark II eventually fell from widespread use due to the immense expertise required to maintain it, now surviving only as concentrated relics of epochal wars and the lost golden age of the Imperium of Man. Yeah, very cool. So if you're looking at it, all this artwork, you can kind of see all these interlocking rings that they talk about. It's crazy how flexible like old medieval suits of armor were, because they did this kind of same thing. They would just kind of do this whole rivety segment down the whole thing. You can just get really bendable.
Yeah, for when you get folded in combat. Yeah, but a lot of people have some misconceptions about real life armor. It's not that it doesn't inhibit your movements a lot. It's not that heavy once it's all on you. Like Mark and I both have owned suits of armor, and currently own suits of armor. And yeah, you can do quite a bit in them. But yeah, the Mark II is supposed to give you this idea of like, okay, it's heavier, it's a little more cumbersome, but it gets the job done. They did a retcon the neck thing semi recently. When they're currently releasing new Heresy armors, and they're always subtly going back and changing little details. And one thing is that neck posability.
Did they like actually come out and say it was a change, or just based on how they hobby their models?
One of their codex that they had created like a variant that allows your neck to move. And again, that goes back to the inconsistency. So they had released Forge World released Mark II armor a while back when they were doing the Horse Heresy model series, and a lot of their Mark IIs had posable heads. So it's a typical thing for GW miniatures. So they kind of retroactively like, oh yeah, that was always a thing. And even the ones that they released recently, like, yeah, their heads are totally posable.
Then you get positions like this guy where he's standing looking down at you to the right, and you're like, oh, right. What did I do wrong?
Or what did he do right? He's just lording over you. Cut you down with the chain axe. So yeah, that was like a subtle retcon that they had done with it. Also broadly, like as inspiration, because this is going to come up later as well, but these helmets, both for the Mark II and the Mark III, start to look like great medieval great helms. Is kind of like their style of helmet. They're really cool. I like them both quite a bit.
Yeah.
But,
that kind of helmet sort of is emblematic of the sort of the 30K era, right?
Yeah, but there are a few that do make it to 40K. I was actually just about to mention that next is if you look at Helbrecht, chapter master, High Marshal of the Black Templars. His armor is very reminiscent of this armor, which I would say it is probably like a heavily modified Mark II. He's got the telltale rings around his greaves. And then his helmet, a lot of the Black Templar helmets that look, again, that great helm design is reminiscent of either Mark II or Mark III. So they're kind of sometimes hard to tell the difference. I think Mark II typically has like one linear visor across the whole set of eyes, where the Mark III helmet has two eye holes, which again, a lot with the power armor is like subtle variations. It's not necessarily true for all Mark II helmets. I'm sure some have two separate eye holes. But yeah, very much that great helm. You see the rings in his shin pads. I'd say if not his helmet,
you were betting man.
Yeah, I'd say his armor is Mark II and his helmet's probably a Mark III.
God damn, the drip on that guy.
Yeah, and there's a couple others. I think their Castellan figure has also probably Mark II greaves as well. But it's kind of cool that
lives never be this cool. Fuck.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like kind of looking at whenever they release hero characters, because usually they have the most custom armor. I was kind of trying to like ID what pieces came from where. A lot of these, another thing we should mention too with power armor broadly, it's a lot of the pieces are interchangeable. We'll get into it later when we get to later marks of armor. But yeah, you could be rocking like a Mark II helmet with like a Mark VI torso and like Mark III arms or whatever. Like,
yeah,
kind of recycling and piecing together what you got. And on that note, let's move on to Mark III. Iron power armor. As the Great Crusade drove ever closer to the galactic core, the Astartes collided with the defiant squat homeworlds, whose ancient stubbornness resisted even the Emperor's will. Deep within their fortified labyrinthine holds, brutal tunnel warfare raged, forging the need for a new breed of armor designed for unyielding assault. The relentless attrition faced by the legions of Astartes in cramped void corridors and subterranean hellscapes drove the Mechanicum to craft the Mark III pattern power armor, perfected for boarding actions and claustrophobic combat where retreat was not an option. This suit was engineered for warriors who advanced without cover, breaking enemy lines with unstoppable force. It's raw
I
strength.
love that propaganda. So this suit is made for the best warriors who only run forward. Do you want to be cool?
You want frontal assault armor? Get in the frontal assault. Yeah. Its raw strength. Its raw strength earned it the moniker Iron Armour or Armorum Ferrum, revered in High Gothic. Unlike its Mark II counterpart, the Mark III was not a replacement. Rather, it was a brutal specialization, a fortress designed for grinding warfare in mines, void tunnels, and ore-choked battlefields. Its reinforced front plates came at the cost of rear protection, unsuitable for fluid warfare, but unmatched in direct confrontation. Yeah, that's another thing we should quickly mention is different legions, kind of depending on what kind of warfare they engage in the most, might skew more so to one suit of armor versus another. For example, this would be good for like Iron Warriors or Death Guard, who are used to those like brutal assaults and grinding attrition warfare. That isn't to say not all legions can use any suit of armor. Like I'm sure there's Raven Guard and White Scars who will use Iron Armor too, but it's probably rarer because it just doesn't gel with their style of combat, which is more fast and fluid
around the battlefield.
Yeah.
Shut up, Greg.
He's just the one guy in Mark III.
He can't turn his head, so he has to turn his whole body.
He's always like, They never take him on stealth missions. The suit's helm is a hardened wedge of sloped plating, engineered to deflect lethal fire from any angle, an innovation that would shape future Mark IV and Mark VI designs. This iconic silhouette would evolve into the predatory Corvus pattern of Mark VI, a symbol of Astartes' terror. The Iron Armor is an unyielding engine of war, loud, grinding, and incapable of stealth. Yet its presence on the battlefield is a declaration of dominance, and its legacy inspires awe and devotion in every Space Marine. Though based on the Mark II frame, the Mark III adds reinforced panels across every vital surface, greaves, forearms, chest, and beyond. By the 41st millennium, it endures as a ceremonial relic, but its design remains a testament to the relentless brutality of the Imperium. Kind of going back to what we mentioned a minute ago, too, the Mark II... No. I lost my train of thought. Carry on.
Yeah, you can see on this picture here, we got a side angle of the Mark III. And basically it's showing this split where it's got kind of the back half of the Mark II of all those ringed armors, but then the front half, they've slapped on that solid shin plate. So you get kind of, you see where that separation of, okay, we need to do this frontal assault, but we're kind of, building off existing tech and all that.
Yeah.
Don't you think it would take like a lot longer to put on if you have all those little separate pieces? That'd just be such a bitch.
It depends, unless maybe they welded those onto. It's like, hey, your full job is now just boarding actions, and here you go. This is your life now.
This is your life now. Hey, if they can give you servo skulls, they can weld greaves to your shins.
Oftentimes, a good way to tell power armors separate from each other too is looking at their shin guards. Iron Armor has some telltale signs too. They typically have like a front crotch plate, and then like reinforced van braces are all typical of Mark III. That one's Mark II. What I was going to say earlier, in true GW fashion as well, they had made the Mark III and in like old Marine style, and they have that typical Mark III helmet, but then they re-released Mark III in that larger scale. Mark, if you just go under the picture you're looking at right now, and they released like these new helmets with them that are a little different than the typical Mark III, but those kind of became more standard because they released it with the main box set. So they have almost like a pickle helb type spike on their heads.
It almost looks like their head's like squished or something, like the eye.
Yeah. Someone also had mentioned that as well. Yeah, the faceplate looks a little more square rather than like elongated, like the old Iron Armor helmet. There's a couple of subtle variations, but again, like a lot of that can be chopped up to, different Forge World production, different Legion style. But yeah, just based on what GW is like mass producing. So the new plastic kits have that other helmet that you were saying, and then the old plastic kits have this kind of helmet that you're looking at now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Silk has a great helm design though. It's really cool. I do like Mark II and III faceplates.
it just doesn't look high tech. You know,
No, it's true.
like,
It looks more medieval than anything.
yeah. It just looks so brutal. Like, you don't think that guy's gonna be flying around space messing you up, but he is.
But that's not the case with Mark IV Maximus power armor, because this is when we get into more, I think, our modern understanding of the aesthetic of a space marine. As the Great Crusade neared its apocalyptic apex and the Imperium stood unmatched in might, the first suits of Mark II Crusade armor began to falter under decades of war. Some Space Marine legions persisted in local repairs, but the Mechanicum of Mars, striving for perfection, forged the Mark IV, known as the Maximus pattern, born during the Imperium's most glorious dominion. With the Mark IV Astartes armor evolved into a prototype of the power suits revered in the 41st millennium, gone were the segmented plates of earlier armor. In their place stood seamless, reinforced panels with integrated joint systems, unyielding, efficient, purpose-built. Though marginally limiting certain movements, this design reduced overall mass while enhancing fluidity in battle, granting the warrior both superior resilience and swifter action. Astartes clad in this armor became avatars of steel and wrath, unburdened by weakness, yet protected as never before. Recovered fragments of ancient technology during the Great Crusade empowered the Mechanicum to refine this pattern, strengthening defense while decreasing weight. This balance brought forth a new standard of Imperial wargear, unmatched across the known galaxy. Reinforced armoring now shielded vital power conduits, allowing the main chest and arm cables to be mounted externally without sacrificing safety, a first for Astartes armor. By employing refined materials and compact machine spirits, the Phaeton pattern backpack became a smaller, lighter engine, its exhaust array foreshadowing the sleek silhouettes of the Mark VI and Mark VII patterns that would walk the battlefields of the 41st millennium. The Mark IV helmet was a complete departure from its predecessors, a streamlined, forward-swept helm derived from Mark III's iron visage. For the first time, the helmet moved freely with the Astartes gaze, bound to the suit's sealed environment systems. This breakthrough was a testament to the artificer's mastery of neural interfaces and the influx of arcane materials that flowed into the forges of Mars as the Crusade pressed ever onward. Though the legions of Astartes shared a standardized armor during the Great Crusade, such legion inevitably forged its own ascendant variants from the base templates. For example, the Mark IV Achaean pattern, a refined evolution of the Mark IV Maximus armor, was forged solely for the Thousand Suns with arcane forges of Prospero. This variant, adorned with esoteric filigree and heightened psychic circuitry, was dignified battle plate reserved for the 25th Legion veterans.
15th.
Sorry, go ahead.
15th.
Oh, sorry, 15th. Oh, yeah. The Praetor pattern was yet another variant, crafted for the Ultramarines during the final age of the Great Crusade and Horus Heresies. Forged in the Viridia asteroid manufactories, it was never formally ratified by the Great Legionist Astartes before betrayal shattered the Imperium at Calth. Mark IV armor was envisioned as the apotheosis of Space Marine protection, resilient, adaptable, and lethal across all theaters of war. Countless legions adopted it in full or in part by the outbreak of the Horus Heresy, their armies clad in the pinnacle of Imperial artifice during the galaxy's darkest hour. Because of its vast proliferation during the Heresy and its legendary resilience, Mark IV armor remains one of the most prevalent pre-Heresy relic patterns still operational in the 41st millennium. Chapters like the Red Scorpions and Iron Hands, driven by fanatical mastery of the Forge, continue to produce or restore these suits even now. The fallen traitor legions, trapped within the warp storms of the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years, still deploy this pattern, most of their armor drawn from what they carried into rebellion. Many Chaos Space Marines combine ancient Mark II or IV plating with pilfered newer parts to remain war ready. Those who turned renegade after the heresy still wear the mark of their faithlessness, the armor they bore when they betrayed the throne. Many heretic Astartes scavenge pieces from the slain to augment their relic suits, layering spite over sacred design. To a loyalist of the 41st millennium, being entrusted with such ancient and hallowed armor is a monumental honor. A brother clad in relic Mark IV walks among his kin with elevated reverence, his war plate a symbol of unbroken lineage and relentless warfare.
Heck yeah.
Okay, I got a question about that though. Like, wouldn't the older version be an inferior version to the newer versions, or is that just a misconception?
Like sometimes with 40K, you get this weird quick burst of technology during the Great Crusade, and then it goes to shit. Like it's shitty, and then the Emperor comes and tries to make things better. You almost get this little blip of better, but then
starts to degrade after.
Then it degrades really quick. But like since a lot of even during that little blip, a lot of like that first suit, you know, the second suit were based off of Age of Strife, Dark Age of Technology, tech. Like, yeah, it's got something special to it, you know. It's got a touch of the ancient.
Yeah, it's also super cool. This is a helmet that the Primaris Marines, their helmets look a lot like, and this has become the new kind of standard face of the Space Marines in 40K.
Yeah, I wonder why they changed it. Like the helmet and the shoulder pads are what's iconic, you know, that Aquila and the shoulder pads, and like to change the face of the brand, was it like too similar to like Darth Vader or something? I wonder what that
was literally about to say that. I think potentially this is the most unique to 40K style helmet. I think, like, I can't think of what else this helmet can be compared to, either historically or in other franchises. So one, it's like a lot easier to copyright. Like, this is the face of the Space Marines, and two, it's just really cool looking. Like, honestly, it used to be my favorite when it was a little rarer, like before Primaris Marines came out. I actually really liked the Maximus as my favorite, and it was always nice to dust a little extra Maximus helmets into your Aquila.
Yeah, you would feel fucking cool, man. You're like, I
right?
found that helmet off from Forge World.
Right, exactly. Like, they were really sweet. And they were really cool when it was like the Red Scorpions, you know, they had their models that they all had them. Like, as standard to them, and they're freaking sweet looking. But I do miss, now that they're the standard face, now I miss the old Aquila one that used to be like, yeah, that's a Space Marine. Like,
for sure.
But we'll get there when we talk about Aquila armor.
Yeah.
But still, Maximus is very cool.
Yeah. Do you remember when we bought, like, we did a Death Watch RPG, but we did all the bits for it as tabletop. So we did all the customization. We bought all the different armor variants. So you could be like, yeah, I'm actually slapping on this armor with this one, with this helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a nightmare. Well, yeah.
But it was worth and that was when you really had to buy, like, certain model kits only had like one piece that was from this Mark set, so you had to buy multiple boxes to get, like,
we bought like the captain box, like the 5th edition captain box, like 100 times just to get certain things. Like,
we were dedicated.
I was sick.
I was
like, I mentioned, I'm working on like a Tau battle suit. I'm like, oh man, I'm missing a bit. And my wife's like, oh, yeah, what bit is it? And I showed her. I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, it'd be cool to mount that. And then she hit buy. I'm like, babe, that was an $80 bit. You don't know what you did. I was just dreaming. But yeah, sometimes you just got to do that to get the cool bits, you know, whether it's a railgun or a Maximus helmet. You just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the Mark V Heresy Power Armor. The Legion's ascension to Mark IV armor was incomplete when the heresy erupted. Many of those newly clad in advanced warplate turned traitor, while the Loyalist legions fought on an aging Mark II Crusade armor. With worlds aflame and war supplies lines shattered, the Loyalists' ability to restore their shattered suits was strained to a breaking point. This variant of power armor was engineered by artificers and tech marines as an uncompromising solution to the devastation of the heresy. Forged from only the most accessible materials, it was rugged, austere, and brutally effective. To hold layers of plasteel and ceramic together, molecule bonding studs were applied in abundance, making the suit an unmistakable Mark V pattern. Let me just pull that up again real quick here. Oh yeah, now you can see those bonding studs that they talk about on the shoulders and the shins.
They're nubbed for your pleasure.
Nubbed for your pleasure. Oh God. Okay. Over time, the studded plating became a ritualized, etched into the helmet, shins, and left pauldron, embodying its legacy in war. As the Mark IV suits became too complex to maintain, the Mark V's versatility was its strength. Repairable by any Forge World, battlefield, or ship with whatever scraps could be mustered. Older, bulkier power cables were often installed, forming weak points across the suit's surface. In response, the tech marines forged supplemental layers of ceramite over these flaws, affixed by yet more bonding studs, preserving the warrior within and creating an armor iconic reinforced silhouette. The crude materials used in this forging gave the Mark V a heavier, more ponderous mass, often leading to rapid overheating. Many battle brothers were forced to throttle their power output to avoid searing temperatures, enduring diminishing performance over catastrophic failure. The helmet bears and easy features of the early features of the Mark VII Aquila helm, built upon the frame of the Mark IV, but lacking its refined craftsmanship, raw and defiant in form and function. Following the heresy, most surviving suits of the pattern were dismantled or cannibalized for parts, as the emerging chapters sought to forget a time of betrayal and ruin. Yet among the traitor legions, this pattern endured, a proud badge of eternal defiance. Heresy armor carries the weight of the Imperium's darkest chapter in its bloody triumph. The chapters rise from and the emperors rise from ashes. A battle brother clad in Mark V is greeted with somber reverence by his peers. Yet to inquisitors who know the twisted legacy serves chaos still, such a suit might be a silent warning, a relic of treachery cloaked in power and steel. Yeah, so the heresy armor, you get this like brutal look, both with just like the helmet goes to like that Darth Vader-esque look, the grill very prominent, and the studs.
I always found it weird. Like Mark V is almost not a true unique suit. It's more so like a cannibalizing and butchering together of multiple previous suits. But the helmet was always like quite unique. And like you said, Mark, it was almost like the dawn of what will become the Aquila helmet. But like I'm just kind of thinking like, is that like a stripped down Maximus face grill? Like if it's not truly its own suit of armor.
I think it is though. I just think it was like more rushed with the R&D. It was like, we're taking a step back with this suit, but we need to make some suits. And like, if we win, we won't be using this suit anymore.
Right. It was just a stopgap, kind of like just get it out there.
Yeah. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah, there are definitely parts where they cobbled it from here and like, but.
And that could just be me. Like that was just always my interpretation, is like it was just ransacked and put together. But you're right, there could have been like some innovative pieces, like maybe the faceplate or the helmet altogether is like a unique thing to it that they did design, but it's like just get it out, get it on production.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is like these reinforced bonding studs can technically be added to any armor. So you might get a Mark VII that looks like, you know, this heresy-esque studded out armor. So
yeah. Another cool note on this bonding studs is sometimes typically you see it with traitor legions and chaos, but certainly I think Imperial forces could use it. They have more of like a triangular jagged bonding stud, like little spikes rather than, you know what I'm talking about, Mark?
Yeah.
I think a lot of Sons of Horus have that design.
Maybe I'll find that. Sons of Horus.
Yeah.
Sons of Horus.
I know, I heard the same thing, which isn't wrong.
Yeah.
Crater.
Yeah, there we go. You can see now on this guy, he's kind of got those spikes going on. It might be
they're more spiked studs than rounded studs, but
yeah, for sure. Cool. Yeah, and then this one pretty much like stopped production. Like they did it, and as soon as the Horus Heresy ended, it stopped. The Imperium doesn't use it anymore. It kind of just came and died out.
Yeah, like very short-lived.
Very short-lived.
Yeah, I like those helmets. So I want GW to drop a Heresy box of Heresy type armor, and I'm just gonna sprinkle those pieces all across an army. And those helmets especially will be sick, especially Chaos armies.
Yeah,
they would look really awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Mark VI Corvus power armor. This enduring warplate variant hails from the tumultuous days of the Horus Heresy, forged as a true successor to the Mark IV Maximus pattern by the Grand Forges of the Mechanicum. It remains a staple among the chapters of the 41st Millennium, distinguished by its predatory beaked helm and its studded auto-reactive pauldron, reinforced through molecular bonding to absorb and deflect punishment beyond mortal comprehension. In the fires of the Heresy, the Mark VI was engineered for absolute resilience and effortless field maintenance. Its redundant circuitry allowed shattered or rare finds to be replaced with coarse components without compromising protection or war function. It introduced new fail-safe systems, including dual power feeds and redundant cabling hidden beneath ceramite plating, reinforced with heavy greaves to endure protracted merciless warfare. The left pauldron, often absorbing the brunt of enemy fury, retained the bonded studs of the Mark V for rapid replacement in the heart of war. Regarded as the most agile of all Astartes armor variants, the Mark VI earned reverence for its flawless articulation, surpassing even the revered Mark VII in engineering. Its lightweight design made it a natural companion to jump packs, the preferred wargear for strike and assault cadres, even when fitted with alternate helms for battlefield adaptability. The finalized variant, designated Corvus armor, in homage to Primarch Corvus Corax, retained the silhouette of older marks, yet was improved in every aspect: reinforced joints, redrawn plating, and a reinforced bolt-studded pauldron. Most iconic was its helm, sharp, avian, predatory, an echo of the hunter's swoop, forged to strike terror into the hearts of those who defy the Imperium. Legionnaires noted the avian precision of its design, with the conical mask evoking the aspect of a raven descending upon its prey. This armor was master-crafted, its earliest sets granted to the Raven Guard during the agonies of the Heresy, honoring their part in developing the pattern, and their indomitable sacrifice following the dropsite massacre of Isfahan V, where their ranks were shattered, yet unbroken in spirit and will. With Martian forges not yet fully resupplying loyalist legions, and warp storms severing supply lines, the Mechanicum designated all interim armor cheats as Mark V Heresy patterns. This Raven Guard's makeshift innovations in the shadow of the ruin became the foundation for later Legion-wide improvisations to replace decimated Mark IV suits. The earliest Mark VI plate was scarred in battle during a 2-year campaign with Aldari Ruins, the Scald engagements, where the first 1,000 prototypes were deployed and tested. Initially referred to as Mark V, its designation changed once the Mark V Heresy variant was formalized as a separate improvisation. Attempts to deploy the earliest Mark V suits to the Iron Warriors and Salamanders yielded their concern. The armor lacked the frontal reinforcement necessary for siege warfare, prompting a demand for revisions. Thus, field trials were organized with lightly manned Raven Guard selected for the trial, some say as a silent move to sabotage the armor. If so, the gambit failed. The Raven Guard, cloaked in the new pattern, unleashed devastating raids upon the Aldari, exploiting their augmented reflexes, autosenses, and ghost-like mobility to butcher their foes in swift, merciless surgical strikes. Their triumph was absolute. Not only did the Raven Guard humiliate their foes and secure victory, but every improvement they suggested was sanctioned and enshrined within the armor's final configuration. The newly perfected warplate renamed Corvus pattern in honor of the numerals 19th, yeah, 19th Legion entered full-scale production scant months before Horus declared his rebellion. Reclassified as Mark VI, It became a standard fit across the legions, incorporating field-tested enhancements into formal specifications. During the Siege of Terra, Mark VI plate was the most prolific pattern in Imperial service. Entire chapters fought within its blackened carapace, defending the palace against the Legion of the Arc Traitor. Even as the heretics of the Dark Mechanicum stole designs and churned out their own profane versions of the traitor legions, its profile became synonymous with loyalty and defiance. The Emperor's children wore it in corrupted splendor during the siege, when its use would persist through the Great Scouring and long into the grim darkness of the 41st millennium.
Cool. Yeah, this one, you either love it or you hate it. The beaky helm. What do we think here? You boys a fan of this style, or?
It personally never appealed to me, not like the Maximus or the Aquila helmets. But I do have a soft spot for it, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm probably in that same boat where, like, I'm not a fanboy, but I'm definitely not opposed to it. And, like, if I have the chance to put it on, you better believe I'm going to put one on a guy, but it has to make sense.
Yeah. There's a couple, or let's get Jordan's opinion first before I spout off.
I mean, yeah, I'm not like a huge fan of. It reminds me of what are those, like those plague masks that people wear?
Yeah, plague doctor-esque.
Plague doctor masks. Yeah, its design is like a Han skull bassinet, Mark. If you want to look that up.
Yeah,
it's a real life helmet design. People will notice it. Like it's a knight design that has that like beaky type helmet. It makes a lot of sense for like charging into combat. A lot of like arrow deflection in the conical face piece.
Right. Yeah.
But that's very much kind of what it looks like. It was probably designed after. It used to be the helmet that was the signature Space Marine helmet. If you look at like the first Space Marine models, the beaky was actually the main helmet. And it's kind of funny that they retroactively made it kind of the face of the Horus Heresy with this newer Horus Heresy game that they've created. It's become like the standard helmet, which is odd because they have a full suit of Heresy armor. But yeah, no, the beaky is now kind of, and I think it's an homage to those original Space Marines. Like in real life, they're older. There was a piece of artwork, Mark, if you scroll down a little bit more, of like old, those well, yeah, that one too. But that one, there's a good shot of them. Like, that was the original Space Marine. That used to be their signature look. And
those shoulder pads are so tiny.
That's why it's inferior.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Another kind of interesting innovation was when Dawn of War 2, I want to say, came out. It kind of became standardized as like an assault marine helmet. And it makes sense. It's like more aerodynamic. That was never really canon that like assault marines would wear that helmet necessarily or exclusively, but it started becoming a trend. Even I started doing it to my guess. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. They're like aerodynamic. They have those extra sensors for like jump packing around. It's cool, but I do like to sprinkle them in, and I like to mix and match my armor variants. I don't like there to be like whole squads of one type, unless I'm doing a whole army of one type. I'm both extremes. Either they're all wearing Maximus or whatever Mark X armor, or they're all mix and matching pieces.
Yeah. But just one community closet, or everyone gets their own closet. Hey.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
It's one or all or nothing. But as I mentioned, Corvus armor is obviously more synonymous with stealth action as well. Raven Guard prefer it. Again, other legions, like we said, Iron Warriors and Salamanders, I think, said they didn't prefer it because of the lack of siege capabilities.
Yeah.
Again, I'd like to think that doesn't mean they exclusively won't use it. It's just more of a legion preference for their style of warfare.
Yeah, like they still have like recon squads that probably would use it if they had access to it. Why not?
Certainly. Yeah, exactly. You'd be dumb to just not ever use something that you had access to.
But it's also okay to have preferences.
Yes.
Yeah, aesthetically, I don't love it. It's not as cool as the next one we're going to get into, which is the Aquila Mark VII power armor. This augmented battle plate Designated Aquila armor is the prevailing power armor worn by the Space Marine chapters of the late Imperium. Forged in the crucible of the Horus Heresy's final days, the Mark VII has endured unbroken for over 10,000 years, a testament to its relentless design and unmatched protection for firstborn Astartes across the galaxy. Its reinforced chest plating shields the once glaring Mark VI vulnerability, the exposed cabling now safeguarded beneath the twin-headed Aquila, an imperious symbol of loyalty. The helmet, compact and precise, follows the lineage of the Mark VI Maximus design, but evolves into a more impenetrable combat-optimized form. The Mark VII stands as the last evolutionary step from its predecessor, forged into the siege of the Sol system, when Mars fell under traitor control. As the Mechanicum withdrew to Terra, their final works were integrated into this suit, seeing delivery to loyalist legions just as Horus turned his guns upon the throne world. The armor's visage is fierce and imposing, featuring a grim vox caster and breastplate marked by either the Aquila or Imperialis, symbols of divine authority. These marks earned it names like Eagle Armor and Armorum Impetor, embodying the Imperium's uncompromising resolve. Before the heresy, none but the Emperor's children could bear the Aquila, a distinction granted by the Emperor himself. Yet, with their fall to corruption, he decreed every loyal Astartes worthy to carry the sacred sigil as the Sol system burned and faith was tested. As a perfected evolution of the Mark VI, the Mark VII retains total compatibility with its precursor. Armor components are wholly interchangeable, a relentless modularity that ensures a Space Marine may continue the fight without pause. A Mark VI helm can lock seamlessly onto a Mark VII plate, requiring no additional refinement, proof of the armor's enduring unity and its place in the awe-inspiring pinnacle of Astartes wargear. So that just gives you the canon lore open to put that beak on your helm if you really want it.
Yeah, if you really want it, might as well.
Yeah.
Unlike Gene Seed, where you mix and match to get the best type, you can do that with power armor. It's not heresy.
Yeah. And then this, like we mentioned repeatedly, this was until Primaris Marines came out the face of Space Marines.
This image I have right now is the pinnacle of Space Marines.
Yeah.
In form, function, and appeal.
What is that? The rainbow chapter?
Guess again, it starts with the F's. Anyways, so yeah, no, that's the classic look, man. You'll find it everywhere. It's interchangeable. Yeah, that helmet, you'll even see it on Primaris Marines. It seems like that can kind of make it into their list, kind of. Very cool. We'll jump to the next one. The Mark VIII. We'll call it the Errant armor. The Mark VIII Errant pattern is the latest evolution of the revered Mark VII Aquila armor, the first new pattern of Astartes plate forged since the cataclysm of the Horus Heresy. Its existence stands as both triumph and a testament to the Imperium's stagnation, a millennia-long battle against decay and the fading light of human knowledge since the Emperor's ascension. Though bearing the silhouette of its predecessor, Errant plate reinforces every weakness with unyielding resolve. The exposed torso cabling, once a glaring vulnerability, now lies sealed beneath the segmented armor plates in solution wrought after countless Mark VII suits were modified in war. Additional reinforced girding shields the rib joints at the hip, and the greaves articulate with precision, enhanced movement, and unrelenting battlefield agility. I always forget to pull up the image when I start reading, but here you go. It looks pretty fucking tight. This is my favorite power armor. Wait, we got to find it. We got to find a good one of it. This guy's good, this Minotaur. Limited batches. Visually, the Mark VIII sets itself apart with an elevated collar plate, an armored gorget that frames the helmet and protects the vital neck joint. This feature eliminates the shell trap flaw of the Mark VII, where rounds could ricochet from the breastplate to the throat. However, this innovation demanded a new helmet design, one incompatible with older patterns without sanctified reworking, though it brought advanced environmental and ventilation upgrades in exchange. Limited batches of Mark VIII reached only a handful of chapters, seen sparingly across war zones of the 41st millennia. Complete suits are rarities, but armor rights often graft its enhanced cabling guards and collar plates onto veteran armor for officers and sergeants who merit such augmentation. Among firstborn veterans of the Death Watch, the Mark VIII is a sign of rank and reverence. Its presence and honor bestowed upon those who have survived the unending crucible of alien war. Its silhouette carries authority, recognition, and awe through every chapter of the Adeptus Astartes. Even so, its production remains glacially slow. Centuries will pass before the Errant becomes the standard plate, if ever. And with the rise of Primaris and Mark X armor in the Indominus era, the Mark VIII's future may already be overshadowed, as the firstborn dwindle in number, and yet their impregnable legacy remain. When the Imperium is gone, 10,000 years later, all that will remain is power armor littered across the galaxy, saying, "We were here, we were the Imperium." It'll be good for them.
You can't do that. You can't just have a bunch of bums picking up power armor in an old battlefield and wearing it.
No, you got to be snazzy. I learned that from my German ancestors. Now, this armor is my favorite. I think that gorget, it really just makes the Marine just feel, I don't know, like he's hunkered down, man. He's like hiding behind his little impenetrable wall there, hurling bolter shells at you. I like it.
I don't know. I'm a little mixed on it. I feel like it almost looks like kind of a groundhog sticking his head out of his hole.
A little diglet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
but yeah, I see the function of it. Like it's more protected.
Yeah. I feel like this art was always kind of one of the first and kind of designs of it. It wasn't colored back in the day, so it's kind of cool seeing people color some older artwork.
Yeah, it's not my favorite just because it doesn't have that backward compatibility with a lot of the other suits, especially the beaky helmet. You can see where like the beak part of it couldn't fit into the gorget there. Yeah. The gorget. You uncultured, unfrench speakers.
Sorry. Yeah. So that's the different power armor marks 1 through 8. We also have Mark X power armor, but the that's Primaris armor. They need their own episode. Like it's got its own thing, and it kind of breaks down like all Primaris stuff, breaks down previous tradition and past legacy. Like the Mark X is actually like 4 power armors in one, possibly more. It's something they can constantly kind of add to. So, we won't get any Mark 11s because we can just build off Mark 10s essentially.
Yeah, Mark 10 is more like a platform, and then you like build off the platform depending on what utility or function you want out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Mark said, it's better talked about in its own episode.
Yeah. Cool. Well, there are other designs too, some that have not been named. Like during the Horus Heresy, a lot of these like Heresy era armor suits or whatever. How do you categorize them? They kind of lumped a lot into there, but there's other ones that are more kind of even different than that, like even more out there, personalized or just whatever.
Yeah.
So
or like planetary or legion variations. Like
yeah.
Let's get into some additional designs. Non-standard patterns of Astartes power armor, ranging from individually crafted artificer suits to experimental or battlefield forged variants, stand apart as rare and formidable relics within the wider Imperium. These suits often merge components from multiple marks, enhanced with master wrought plating, reinforced servo musculature, or arcane systems no longer replicated by modern forges. Some are the result of centuries of incremental modification, shaped by the needs, scars, and victories of their wearers. Others emerge from the skilled hands of tech marines who labor to refine machine spirits far older than their chapters. Whether exquisitely ornamented, brutally utilitarian, or uniquely specialized, these non-standard suits embody the ingenuity and individuality of the Astartes, standing as proof that even within the rigid doctrines of the Adeptus Astartes, the art of warplate evolution endures. Yeah, it's also like it's real, like in real life. A lot of times, like in combat, people will like modify what they kind of gear they carry or what their kit includes, or just based on like stuff they learned while fighting. Like, oh man, I always get shot in this area, right? So I should reinforce that piece. I always get slashed near the neck. I should probably do some subtle variation. Or it goes the artistic route and be like, yeah, I've earned all these accolades, so I'm gonna wear them into combat all the time.
Yeah. And then you look like this guy, where you're supposed to be blue, but you're really more gold.
Exactly. Yeah. So just like different little tricks of the trade you pick up when you're a space marine fighting for centuries, or like, yeah, you're always fighting in winter environments, or your team always ends up doing the recon missions, right? Like you would modify yourself. You might take off like the front crotch plate if you're constantly sitting down all the time. Like
if you're hit with the ladies, you don't need that front crotch plate.
Or you wanna have it open so that they can see what they're working with. Like
yeah. The one comment here from Fulgrim is, Fulgrim only lets me in the smallest power armors. And then 2 Astartes, 1 power armor is the image behind. So. Yikes. Hyper dense rabbit poops we talked about, Christian?
Yeah.
Cool. Tell me about Artificer armor, Jordan.
So Artificer armor denotes those exalted suits of warplate that have been reforged, enhanced, and sanctified into singular engines of protection. Each suit is a relic of relentless augmentation, sculpted across centuries for a chosen warrior and retained by the chapter long after its bearer's death, awaiting the next champion worthy of its impenetrable shell. These suits merge fragments from many armor marks with customized plates, reinforced helms, and sacred enhancements, forming a hybrid panoply of unrivaled resilience. Because every component of power armor demands immense labor to create, the chapter safeguards ancient suits as irreplaceable heirlooms, though some archaic variants lack the auxiliary systems of their more advanced descendants. To maintain their relentless functionality, tech marines and artificers labor constantly bonding new mechanisms into old plate, restoring sacred joints, and grafting one-of-a-kind upgrades into each venerable suit. Many such modifications are non-standard, crafted solely for the armor that bears them, while ornate battle honors accumulate upon their surface, encoding entire histories of campaigns in adamantine relief. Over time, these plates become living monuments of war, their augmented systems surpassing the protection offered by newly forged suits of standard issue power armor. So I'm guessing like kind of each artificer armor is pretty unique.
Yeah, like each one is just a personal story, crafted for this hero, made over centuries, built upon. Like, there's nothing else like it.
So in terms of modeling, it's sort of like the ultimate modeling armor because you can kind of do a lot with it.
Yeah, add on every little bauble and bit you have.
Yeah.
I always really liked the I think it was the 4th or 5th edition codex example of Artificer armor. It had these like arches, these like Gothic arches all around the torso piece. If you look up Mark,
see if I can find it better.
Yeah, look up. Just it's usually used as the example of Artificer. I'd use the word Artificer in your search, and it might come up. But that one right there. Yeah, it's just like super Gothic looking. Those like shin guards look super ornate, like that. I always love that image.
Each one of those skulls is actually somebody's skull. So that takes time to gather that many skulls and then embed them in your armor.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yet Artificer armor is beyond price. its loss unthinkable, and its presence on the battlefield a declaration of absolute mastery. Only the most honored heroes are permitted to wear such revered plate, choosing its enhanced mobility and precision over the bulk of Terminator armor. Among the chapters, the Salamanders stand unrivaled in crafting these extraordinary suits, their forge-born skill ensuring that their artificer panoplies remain among the most awe-inspiring relics of the Imperium. Though that is like very cool and epic and everything, I do feel like you kind of make yourself a target. Like how much renown would you get if you killed somebody with the artificer armor, right?
But you forget, Jordan, this is 40K, where you wear your Legion colors proudly and you take off your helmet so everyone can see your inspiring face.
Chiseled to perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah, the artificial armor, pretty cool. You know, I just picture master craftsmen making this power armor. Every wire is perfect. I've worked with some yahoos in the trade before where they should not be electricians. And that's why I'm no longer one. So, you know, there's people out there making cool power armor, and these ones are it. And then you get to some more personalized Legion-specific stuff, chapter-specific stuff. So across the millennia, countless Legions, chapters, and renegade warbands have reshaped the form of their power armor, forging distinct designs, especially in their helmets, to declare their lineage and allegiances. Some craft severe angular visors reminiscent of their Primarch's visage, while others adorn their helmet with sigils, crests, and brutal war trophies that proclaim loyalty to the Emperor, to the chapter cult, or whatever cause. Among the Imperium's loyal sons, such variations serve as sacred heraldry, binding warriors to ancient traditions. Among traitors, the same alterations become twisted mutations or savage iconography that mark their devotion to dark powers. In every case, their helm designs are more than mere protection. They're visual oaths, shaping identity and signaling allegiance on the battlefield long before a single shot is fired. Yeah, you remove your identity, you cover yourself, and you put on the chapter's heraldry. Like, you become the chapter for sure. And yeah, the helmet's definitely the most personalized thing that kind of happens, I feel.
Yeah, it's also great for selling extra bits to people who want to customize their legions. Yeah, if you look up, like we mentioned earlier, the oh my goodness. No, not Horus Heresy. The Horus's Legion, what are they called? But before it's Black Legion, Sons of Horus. The Sons of Horus Legion. Look up like helmet or something like that. They have a really cool, unique pattern. It reminds me a lot of almost Maximus in Gladiator. That's always kind of the helmet design that it reminded me of. Whether or not that was an inspiration, I have no idea. But yeah, it's a pretty unique angular design and faceplate. They also have a good example too, or the Thousand Sons have a pretty unique style, like we mentioned before. If you look up Achaean helmets,
Blood Angels, and they have like
death masks.
Yeah, where it's like a gold face.
Yeah.
You know, we could name every Legion because all 20 of them came out with their own helmet style. So
yeah,
let's do it. Buckle in.
Buckle in. Let's start from the top.
From the top.
A lot of Dark Angels. Well, you don't have to look up everyone, but a lot of Dark Angels have a lot of like this knightly aesthetic where each helmet just like is just unique and different, but they all look kind of like knight-like.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we said, every Legion has kind of a little flair. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the other Imperial power armors. Though synonymous with the Adeptus Astartes, power armor is not exclusively theirs. The Sisters of Battle and select Inquisitors wield lesser forms of powered plate. However, these suits, while formidable, lack the transhuman enhancements, deep environmental protection, and terrifying mobility of true Space Marine armor. They echo its form, but can never replicate the godlike union of flesh, steel, and coated wrath that is an Astartes in full warplate.
Bitches.
Yeah. So like good example, Sisters of the Battle, they all wear power armor, but it's a lot smaller. It's not quite the same as Astartes power armor. Same, a lot of Inquisitors. Yeah. It's just not the same. A good Inquisitor's Cortez has a really cool suit of power armor. At least he did until they remodeled him.
Whoa.
But yeah, like if you didn't know any better, you'd think he was a Space Marine just by the way his armor looks, but it's not.
Yikes, man. What did they do to this man's hips? What did they do to my boy?
Look how they massacred my boy.
Oh my God.
Look at the older one, Mark. Look at the older one.
Yeah, that's the older one.
Don't hurt yourself anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Like if you didn't know any better, you would think that was a Space Marine model, but
oh my God.
It's not.
What is his the left is the new one, and my God. The guy has a thigh fetish or something. I don't know what to make of it. Honestly, that's the worst sculpt in like all GW history, I think.
I wouldn't go that
weird.
Far, but
I just want to make him like look more hulking or something.
It was a downgrade for sure.
Imposing.
They also kind of, again, like I said, that rounded new GW look that's less gothic. Yeah. You can see very much a good example of that. Is all like big empty plates and no detail.
Yeah, this is another great example of a shitty Inquisitor in power armor. This one's not as bad, actually. But
I was gonna say I don't hate this one actually. But still
weird proportions. I feel the armors like the knee plate is huge. Like it doesn't have the same massive shoulder pads either that we know and love with the Astartes. So I'm kind of just.
I think that's also a visual thing. Mark, go to the Inquisitor right underneath there. A lot of these power armors they're a lot more slender. They're more human-like. And they're different even from each other. Like they really are like custom pieces. Especially when you're talking Inquisitors. Obviously, Sisters of Battle have a little bit more uniformity, but
like look at those power armored high heels. Those are custom.
Essential. They are essential pieces of
deadly stilettos right there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Imagine getting kicked in the face with that. Just goes right through your head. Another good Mark. If you just want to look up Sisters of Battle armor, just as an example. They're pretty recognizable too. Their helmet's like a reminiscent of the Saleh style helmet in real life. But yeah, same.
Pretty cool. Oh, here we go. Same.
Yeah.
If ever you want to have a good time, just Google Sisters of Battle cosplay and enjoy. Text me in the morning.
All right, let's get into the adaptability of power armor. Across the Mark VI through Mark VIII patterns, one defining trait dominates: an engineered indomitability fused with adaptive precision. These suits are constructed to endure impossible punishment and accept replacement components from fallen brethren without hesitation, creating hybridized warplate forged from multiple generations of armor. Mark VII plate, especially, was designed as modular bulwark, every piece interchangeable, every component forged for unrelenting survival. Among the myriad loyalist chapters, each maintains its own doctrine of augmentation. Some pursue the most advanced suits their forged worlds can still conjure, ensuring their warriors stride into battle clad in refined, optimized plate. Others preserve the venerable patterns of ages past, maintaining them with ritual intensity so that they may continue to bring death in the Emperor's name. Mark I, II, and III patterns have transcended into relic status, long since removed from general deployment among battle-active companies. Complete suits are sacred artifacts, near mythic constructs of war. Ironically, they appear more often among the corrupted armories of the traitor legions than among their loyal kin. The consecrators, heirs to the Dark Angel's ancient panoply, reject any pattern newer than the Mark VI for their firstborn, appearing upon the battlefield as living echoes of an earlier, darker age. Often only fragments of these archaic suits endure, plastrons reforged into Mark VII shells, gauntlets integrated into Mark VI articulation, shoulder plates mounted upon newer ceramite frameworks. Yet, even a lone relic plate that has survived millennia of ceaseless war is revered beyond measure, a shard of unbroken legacy. To don such a piece is to bear the weight of countless oaths, and to stride into battle clad in honor of unfaltering augmented ancestry.
Man, I would love, that'd be the best part about being a Space Marine, is just modifying your suit of armor and having like new little purity seals put on your shin, and you're like, this is passed down for 18 generations. It's kicked ass, and I will kick ass with it too. Yeah, man. I just keep thinking about that, like Astartes armoring up video of them just slapping all these plates on with such ceremony, and just how much power and manliness. All of those parts are interchangeable, and you can do even more. You can add a little bit more personal flair, because man, the shell, it's like who you are. So personalization. Astartes power armor, though engineered for war, is also a vessel for personal devotion, and many warriors adorn it with symbols that reinforce their duty to the Imperium. Aquilas are etched, embossed, or welded onto their breastplates to signify absolute loyalty to the Emperor. While purity seals flutter from greaves and vambraces as tangible proofs of faith, cruxes, whether the crux terminatus of veterans or the more humble chapter-forged variants, are affixed to shoulder guards or goguettes, marking the bearer's service, honor, and hard-won survival. These embellishments, so ceremonial in appearance, serve a deeper spiritual purpose. They transform the armor from a machine shell into a sacred relic, a physical declaration of allegiance worn in every battle. Beyond Imperial iconography, many chapters integrate their own cultural fetishes and traditions into their war plate, infusing each suit with the character of its brotherhood. The Space Wolves weave pelts, fangs, and carve runes into their armor, invoking Phoenician sagas and spirits of legendary beasts. The White Scars might bind engraved bone trophies to their harness, echoing the traditions of their steeped ancestors, while Salamanders inscribe drake scale patterns or carry obsidian totems from Nocturne. These adornments do not merely embellish their armor, they root the Astartes within the chapter's identity, reminding each warrior of heritage, ritual, and oaths that shape his purpose in the endless wars of the 31st millennium. Yeah, fucking cool. Yeah, you can have, this is the best part, man. There's an Astartes for everyone. You like lizards? Go put some lizard pelts on your guy. You like birds? Now we got some birds out there. Maybe you like wearing people. We can have that too. You can have whatever you want.
If you're Night Lord. I should also mention that even painting your armor, all the Space Marine legions paint their armor different colors, right? Like, they do squad marking. They have like both symbols that are like marks of honor, or they wear colors that signify like functional purposes, like rank or squad, or like combat function, right? Like all those are also different personalizations. Some have like little personal heraldry that you can identify them on the battlefield. I mentioned this in other episodes, but I'll bring it up again here. It's kind of strange what color ceramite and adamantium actually are underneath. Two significant legions that don't paint their armor, or are said to not paint or embellish their armor all that much, are the Iron Warriors, who have silver armor, and the Death Guard, who have white armor. And both are allegedly unpainted or not as decorated, which is a question that still lingers. I guess ceramite is white because literally GW makes a paint called ceramite white. But yeah, the Iron Warriors are also said to not paint their armor, embellish their armor too much. Same with the Iron Hands as well, and they both have silver armor. So that is a lingering question for me. I want answers, GW.
I want answers. God damn. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I don't got any answers for you. I'm sorry, my friend.
I just thought I would point that out again here. Like I said, I mentioned it in previous episodes, but here it is again, since we're talking.
A lot of people are on it.
Yeah. Get out there and get me some answers. All right. Let's also bring up an age-old tradition of Space Marines not wearing a helmet. It is not uncommon to witness an Astartes advancing into battle bareheaded, particularly among sergeants and commanders whose presence is meant to project unyielding dominance. Many warriors remove their helms the moment immediate threat subsides, exposing enhanced flesh to the hostile void of war as a calculated declaration of absolute fearlessness. Though it heightens the dangers they face, and perhaps because it does, this act is regarded by many Space Marines as a ritualized defiance, a display of transhuman audacity hurled against the enemies of mankind. Without the helm, the auto-senses of the war plates fall silent, prompting those who favor this custom to rely upon augmetic earpieces, ocular implants, or bionic substitutes that maintain a fraction of their armor's augmented awareness. The rituals required to preserve the suit's environmental sanctity lengthen the process, demanding solemn precision. The absence of the helmet also denies access to the armor's atmospheric regulators and vital support systems, making such defiance impossible in vacuum or toxic atmospheres. With the helm removed, the Vox becomes reduced to audio transmission alone, the pictographic and tactical feeds withheld until reconnection. Yet commanders who lead uncovered are often revered more fiercely, their warriors emboldened by the raw demonstration of risk embraced without hesitation. Should a firefight erupt or hostile conditions encroach, re-securing the helm becomes a matter of swift survival. Though the full rites of armoring are lengthy, a helm may be locked into place with practice speed in extremis, but its machine spirit requires precious moments to reawaken, autosenses in full voxeling capacity. Among all chapters, the Space Wolves pursue this practice with unmatched fervor. For them, it is not mere bravado, but a utilitarian extension of the Canis Helix, which sharpens their olfactory senses to predatory extremes. Many track foes and read the surge of battle from scent alone when unhelmed, accepting the threat of a sniper's round in exchange for instinctive battlefield mastery. So integral is scent to their warfare that many Space Wolves experience unease, even disorientation, when enclosed within their helmets. Warriors forged to hunt with every augmented sense laid bare to the winds of war. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly.
Like, come on. This is pure big dick energy.
But you don't have to explain away every little facet. Like, obviously, this extends from, like, this is lore retroactively explaining why when you're modeling your characters, oftentimes your sergeant might not have a helmet so you can see him plainly on a battlefield.
Because look at these mugs, man. You don't hide that. Yeah. Look at this. You don't hide that.
For that main character energy.
Superior chiseled jaw.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you need lore to retroactively explain why your guy's not always wearing a helmet. But
yes, you do.
It was historically been a running gag of like, oh, your commanders take off their helmets and snipers are going to take them out very easily. And yeah, you have a battle pole on your, like a flag on your commander too. You know, you're not really worried about snipers.
And you're painted yellow.
Yeah, like, we can accept that sometimes they're not wearing a helmet for a cool factor.
Yeah,
but
I don't hate it. I kind of like it. I think it's cool.
It is cool that they at least have an explanation for those that need it. Like, oh yeah, they're just being defiant. Like they're just proving like, hey, look, I don't even need a helmet. Come at me. Which I do. It's cool.
I do like too. A lot of their gene seed does come when a Space Marine's helmetless, like spitting acid or even like eating prey and getting their memories. Like you don't want to have to take your helmet off all the time for that.
Sure, but you're
just not washing it through your face grill. Just
no, like you're not actually eating in the middle of throes of combat. Like you can do that after the firefight, have a little nibble, and then put your helmet back on too.
Can you like blend it and put it into like your feeding tube?
You can, yes. I read a book one time where they did that. Astartes Culinary
Cookbook.
Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah.
All right, let's shall we do the final one here, the Chaos Power Armor? Most Chaos Space Marines fight in warplate pieced together from the battlefield remains of fallen Astartes, scavenged relics of the Long War, or remnants of armor worn since the Great Crusade, endlessly repaired by dark sorcery or cannibalized machine spirit logic. Though the Eye of Terror and other blighted regions still contain corrupted forges capable of producing new suits, these creations are often unstable, mutated, or deliberately wrought in the image of the dark gods. Every suit inevitably becomes a shrine to its wearer's patron, or war bandaged with profane ruins, draped in chains, crowned in horns, and burdened with the trophies of slaughter. Spikes, skulls, demonic sigils, and living metal growths merge with ancient ceramite until the armor is no longer merely protective, but an extension of chaos itself.
Yeah, eventually you just start growing horns and spikes. You can no longer sit down anywhere. It's just awkward to move through doors. You're catching on tapestries and shit, knocking over candles everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, do you look cool.
And really, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. Astartes Power Armor. We did it. We made it through the different armors that they have. But wait, there's more. There's Terminator armor. But that's on the next episode. This is the start of a little series we're going to do just called Astartes Armoury. I think I got 5 episodes planned where we're doing this one, Terminator armor, bolters and bolter accessories, some special weapons, and then heavy weapons. So it's going to be fun to kind of dive deeper into kind of more this technical side is how some people have described these type of episodes where you're digging into like, what the heck is nano weave microfibers even? I don't fucking know, but it's out there. So
my pillows are made out of it.
Yeah, they keep you cool at night for sure. Now buy on Redbubble. You can buy Lorehammer ones. Yeah, cool. Well, always a good time. Let's just end it out. I gotta go to the bathroom more than I want to talk to you two now at this point. So hey, check out the Lorehammer Listen to Lore podcast. I have recorded a couple recently, so that's nice getting a couple more out there. Yeah.
And don't forget to check out the Star Lores podcast, where we dive into the lore of Star Wars. So Star Lores with an L.
Yeah. And if ever you want to just have a laugh, just Google Space Marine faces and just scroll. You'll find all types of relief there, like this guy. You did a good job, Mark. This episode was great.
Man, that guy's gene seed, I think, is
defective.
Shit. All right. Well, see you guys all in the next episode of Lorehammer. Adios.